Hey Underdogs, welcome back to Underdogs Rise, the podcast where we rise together. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Because there are moments in your life, and I'm thinking back to my time in Thailand, where just one sentence stops you in your tracks. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand your attention, it simply lands. And somehow you just know it was meant for you. I heard my mentor say, refusing to connect. At first I didn't think they were talking about me. But as I sat with it, I'd realised that I'd spent much of my own life doing exactly that. Not refusing to connect with other people, but refusing to connect with myself. And to do that deeply. For years of my life, I thought connection meant having people around me. I thought it meant having relationships and friendships and being accepted and being liked. But as I found out that we can be surrounded by people and still feel completely disconnected from who we are really. I know that because I lived that way. For 24 years of my own life, addiction became my escape. Cannabis and Class A drugs. I was going for anything that would just numb the discomfort of sitting with myself. Because real connection, it requires your presence. And that is a challenge. Addiction was asking me to disappear. And it was asking me to do that every time life became painful. Every time grief surfaced. Every time a relationship ended. Every time shame would whisper to me that I wasn't enough. So I decided to disconnect from myself. And not because I wanted to, because I didn't know any other way. I felt like I was unlovable. I felt like that I wasn't enough. Have you ever felt like that? As I look back now, and I'm learning more about myself, I don't judge the younger version of me as much as I used to. Because he wasn't weak. He wasn't broken. He was just surviving. Somewhere along my journey, my way, my path, I learned that feeling emotions wasn't safe. And that speaking honestly might lead to rejection. And that vulnerability was actually dangerous. So I became so incredibly well versed in protecting myself, putting my guard up, and keeping people at a distance. And this was the problem. Those walls that I put up, it kept the pain out, but it also kept love out too. And it also kept out joy. It kept peace out. It kept purpose out. And eventually it kept me out. When I heard those words back in Thailand, something did shift in me, and I don't give it enough time and enough enough gratitude for how much that line means to me. Because as I have reflected, and I went on a walk today, and as I was reflecting, I was talking to myself about wanting to do something new, and to practice something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that was to go live in a platform and talk about how I was feeling. Because when you refuse to connect to yourself, you're also refusing to connect to other people. That's life's mirror. Because I realise connection isn't something that you find. It's something that you allow. You can choose to allow yourself to feel. You can choose to allow yourself to tell yourself the truth. Or allow yourself to just to be seen. Now that sounds simple. But if you've spent years hiding from yourself, it feels terrifying. And here's something that I've learned. Every time we ignore our emotions, we're refusing that connection with ourselves. Every time that we choose to distract ourselves instead of listen, we're refusing that connection. Every time we tell ourselves we're not enough, we're refusing that connection. Every time we pretend we're okay when we're falling apart, we're refusing that connection. Because we're not bad people. Because somewhere along the way that we learned that disconnecting from ourselves felt safer than actually healing. Since my experiences in Thailand and spending time with such amazing people, my chosen family, and my mentor and mentors, I've slowly begun to learn something that I never understood before. Presence. Not perfection. Presence. Learning to sit with the discomfort instead of running away from it. Learning to listen to my own thoughts without believing every single one. Learning to treat myself with the same compassion I'd give to someone else. And that has been a real challenge. Because it doesn't happen overnight. Some days are still hard. Because those days, they run old stories. But I'm starting to notice them. One of the greatest lessons my dad unknowingly taught me about love was, love isn't just given to you. It's something that you practice with yourself, with the time that you take to nurture your own desires and beliefs, and dreams and love for yourself. And you do that by honouring yourself, by respecting yourself, and by keeping the smallest of promises to you. Because every promise that you keep says, I am worthy of showing up for. And that is where connection is. That is where the connection is for us, for you, and for me. I often talk about being an underdog, and for me, an underdog isn't someone who's less than. An underdog is someone who has spent years believing they're less than and still choosing to rise anyway. And that's not because fear disappears, it's always there. It's because connection becomes more important than protection. So today, I'd like you to leave you with a question. Where in your own life are you refusing to connect? Is it with your emotions, your partner, your children, your dreams, your body, or your purpose? Or is it simply the person that's staring right back at you in the mirror? Because I've been that person. I've been that person today. Because healing rarely starts with just fixing yourself. We're not broken. None of us are. It starts when you finally meet yourself. If you're listening to this and you've spent years hiding, just as I did, running away and numbing the pain and then simply just avoiding it, please know this. Connection isn't a destination, it's a decision. It's a decision that you make over and over and over again. In every conversation, every journal entry, every difficult emotion you allow yourself to feel. Every time you choose to be honest with yourself and not hide. And every time you choose compassion over shame. That is how we reconnect. Not in one giant leap, but in thousands of small moments where we choose to stop running from ourselves and be present with us. I just want to say thank you for spending these moments with me. If today's episode did resonate with you, I'd like to encourage you to ask yourself one more question. What part of me is asking to be reconnected with? To sit with whatever answer comes, without judgment, without wanting to fix it, just curiosity. Because the relationship that changes everything, it starts with you. It's the one that you build with yourself. Until next time, remember, we don't rise because life is easy. We rise because we finally stop refusing to connect. Underdogs rise, and we rise together.